Thank you for joining us for this DDi CADcast. Today's topic is What's New 2014, SolidWorks Plastics. So today we're going to highlight the new functionality that was introduced in SolidWorks Plastics. This includes a couple of new updated wizard functionalities, relabeling of previous features, and some changes to the export functionality. So let's start by talking about a new functionality that will help new users with SolidWorks Plastics. This is called the Getting Started wizard. To access the Getting Started wizard, simply click on the SolidWorks Plastics tab, click on the icon for Getting Started wizard, and SolidWorks will activate a new tab in the task pane that looks very similar to the Simulation Advisor for those of you who are used to SolidWorks simulation. Now the Getting Started wizard will handhold you, and for those of you that are new to plastics, again, will take you through all of the required conditions that need to be met in order to run a plastics simulation. So we'll do the mesh. Once we apply the mesh there, we're going to go in and hit next. Now it's going to pick a generic material here. We can go in and change the material or hit next. Same goes with the fill settings. And we need to add an injection location, so we'll just pick a location here for our setup. And once these particular conditions are met, we can now run the simulation directly from the wizard. Once the simulation is run, we can also use the wizard to help us interrogate the results. So that's the Getting Started wizard for plastics. Another item that's new for SolidWorks Plastics is the content for the Dynamic Advisor in the results. If I turn on the Dynamic Advisor, we're going to see some new content that appears inside under the traffic light area. These different sections have been modified to contain the most up-to-date information relevant to each individual plot. So that's what's new with results in plastics. Next, let's talk about some items that have been changed between the 2013 release and 2014 for SolidWorks Plastics. The first item is what was previously known as the gate selection feature, which was under the boundary conditions folder. It was just a location to select different injection locations for your hot melt. And the name gate selection wasn't that descriptive just because we could put in a location in other locations other than a gate. For example, at the beginning of a sprue or any location in your model. So 2014, we just simply renamed that to injection location, and it still has the same functionality as before. The next item that's been changed is the location of the machine database. We simply have to go in and enter a maximum injection pressure under the fill settings. And that's enough to get the simulation started. For those of you that like to reference or use or look at specific items in the machine database, that's still available for you under the advanced category, under the machine database icon. And these are the items that have changed in SolidWorks Plastics. Let's continue and talk about the mold layout wizard. The mold layout wizard is very, very similar to the Getting Started wizard, except for it's meant to guide you through creating and analyzing multi-cavity and family mold layouts with your design. To access it, it's very similar to the Getting Started wizard. You click on the SolidWorks Plastics tab, click on Mold Layout Wizard, and you follow the advisor through every single step required to generate the plastic study. Now again, I mentioned this is very similar to the Getting Started wizard, except for we have a couple of options, except for we have a couple of items related to runner design and runner balancing. Now because of the runner balancing, this mold layout wizard is only available for SolidWorks Plastics premium users only. But speaking of runner design, we have a new wizard tool inside of runner design that will help us go in and create our sprue and runner designs. Once in the runner design property manager, we're going to click on the radio button for runner design. We choose our particular layout we want to use. And let's specify a couple of locations. Once we get the preview, we can update the specs in the property manager and click OK. Now this will allow us to continue on and apply injection locations on the sprue and have our hot melt run through this runner design into our part. Alright, let's talk about the last enhancement for plastics in 2014. Now as I mentioned earlier, this is another functionality that is only available for our plastics premium users. The functionality is to be able to export your plastics results so we can import them into our simulation product now in 2014. Let me go ahead and open up an already completed plastics analysis. Now there are a couple of requirements in order to be able to successfully export your plastics results for use in simulation. Number one, the plastics premium 2014 or more recent product has to be used. Number two, you can only do a single body part. Number three, you have to use a solid manual mesh, and it also cannot be hexahedral or a regressive mesh. Number four, you have to use an isotropic material in your plastic study. Number five, inside of your pack settings, you have to make sure that you have a checkbox turned on that reads residual stress calculation. And number six, lastly, you have to make sure that when you run the project or you run the plastic study, you have to choose flow and pack. Again, when all six requirements are properly done, you can now go in and right-click on the export folder, and under the type pull down, you should be able to choose SolidWorks Simulation and hit export. The file format you get is a .poe file. So once you've successfully exported your plastics results, now you can go in and you can import them using a nonlinear static study in SolidWorks Simulation. So on the receiving end, the requirement would be that you have to have a SolidWorks Simulation Premium license in order to be able to make use of this plastics data. Once you generate the static nonlinear study, to link the study with the plastics results, you right-click on the study, you go to the study properties, and in 2014 there is a new tab called In-Mold Stresses where we can turn on and point to the plastic results. This will generate an in-mold stresses external load for you to interrogate and get results from. And that is the last What's New topic for today. For more CADcast topics, check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/DDiCAD or our tech blog at DDiCAD.com/TechCenter. Thanks for watching.